What's up, guys? Behind the Glass crew coming at you at 3:22 on a Tuesday afternoon. We had a little time. Our schedules are so hectic right now. It's not always easy to find time out of the studio to hop on and do it behind the glass. But Earl, glad to be doing this. And it looks like you changed your studio, man. Did you add some black behind it?
No, this is what it's been. I've had this like room divider behind me for a while. I did mess with the lighting though this time around. I've been Behind the Glass has been on hiatus. I apologize, guys. I've been like bouncing around other podcasts, so I did some work to my lighting.
He's big timing us. It's okay.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, so you got other podcasts going on? Huh? What you doing?
Look,
what
man,
other podcasts you got?
I can't talk video games with you two, so I got to go somewhere to find it.
So you got some video. You're gonna have to plug your stuff at the end of this podcast so people can know where to find your other work at.
Absolutely, I will for sure. It's not my brand, but I do help out some guys that are fans of the show. So
that's what's
been
up.
Over there for a while.
All right, guys, let's hop right into it. We have three things we want to cover today, but really two are combined into one. The Browns receiving core, after losing to the Raiders, dealt with some issues that necessarily weren't so great. You had Elijah Moore's father, not Elijah Moore, but his dad, pulling in OBJ's dad, tweeting, and I quote, "One target the entire game, make it make sense. He's open 95% of the time." Shaking my head with the one video clip of Elijah Moore's lone catch against the Las Vegas Raiders. Then a few days after, Amari Cooper called out the media for, it was in jest, but said sometimes you don't all ask the best questions. Amari Cooper skipped post-game media, opted out against doing it. And, you know, after you call out the media, you're typically expected to show up and defend yourself. Decided not to, and it's not like he played a great game. He had the interception, and I'm putting it on Amari, not Deshaun. So, Earl, thoughts on Elijah Moore's dad pulling an OBJ, Cooper skipping post-game media, and is one of those things worse than the other in your mind?
When I seen the Elijah Moore father calling out or just kind of venting his frustration, should I say, first thing I said was, man, oh, Lord, not again. Like, this is a saga that we have seen before. You know, parents love their kids, right? They want to support their kids and they want to see their children do well. And he was a bit emotional in the moment. The Browns lost a game that they should have won. His son had one target, one catch, and he feel like his boy is always running open. I guess like I can chalk it up to an isolated incident if this is not something that continues to go on. Like this wasn't a whole, video breakdown of every single time Deshaun Watson missed Elijah Moore running wide open. So I ain't really, read too much into it. I think that it's just an isolated situation. Again, I ain't gonna say I'm monitoring it, but if it pops up again, like, okay, now this is starting to become a toxic situation. Now, on the other hand, man, Amari just his energy, his body language, just his attitude. He seemed like a dude that's kind of checked out, to be totally honest with you. I think that the issues from, stemming from all the trade rumors and, everything being so public, I think it really messed with his head more than, we expected it to, or probably more than what he thought it would. And so, I think it was G who alluded to it Monday that he's looking around seeing all these other cats getting a bag and he's not getting one. And now he's wondering like, okay, what the hell is going on? But, I feel like if you checked out and you truly don't want to be here at this point, like just shoot to the front office, man. Tell AB to trade you. It seems like that's what everybody else do when they don't want to be here no more. So, but I think that type of energy with Amari being so highly regarded on his football team, that negative energy is seeping out in the locker room, man, and it's pouring over into other people. And it just seemed like the Cleveland Browns as a bunch, they're like a fragile group that seem to be hearing the noise like pretty loud right now.
And is one worse than the other? Earl, did you lose Ant? Ant just texted us and said I think his internet went up in flames. So I'll answer that question while we try to get Ant
He
back
giving us
here.
a straight face though. That's hilarious.
I know. I couldn't tell if he was deep in thought or if he had frozen. But here's my 2 cents, Earl. I actually don't really have an issue with Elijah Moore's dad. I am not a parent. So I am just speaking out of pure what I could assume. It'd be frustrating if you think your kid's not getting the ball enough, or if you think your son is better, or daughter, it could be any sport. For this case, it's Elijah Moore. But if you think your son, daughter, kid, whatever, should be getting more opportunities. And I've played basketball at the collegiate level. Earl, you've seen it with your daughter now. Like, parents always want their kids to get better. Like, they always want, or to get more opportunities. They always want their kid to be the star. I really don't have an issue. Elijah Moore's father came out after and tweeted he wasn't directing that at Deshaun Watson. He was just frustrated at the outcome of the game and the lack of inclusion of his son in the game plan. And you know what? If it happens once, we're all human. It's an outburst, whatever. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. I do have a legit issue with Amari Cooper because through 4 games, Amari Cooper has not played up to the standard that anyone expected, including himself. And frankly, it's not just been, oh, he's been okay. No, Amari Cooper's been bad. Like Earl, Amari Cooper has been objectively bad. He had a good game against the Giants. He was MIA in the first 2 weeks of the season with some costly drops. I don't even know if you call it a drop, Earl, because I don't think he got hands on it. It hit him in the chest, popped up, turned into an interception. You can't come out and call it the media, even if it was in a joking way, play like dog shit, and then skip out on media. It doesn't work that way because guess what? Now media, us included, Earl, are going to look at it and say, well, you took a shot at us, and now you're not here to face the music. You opened it up to a two-way street, right?
Yeah.
Ari's one that opened the door to say, hey, if you guys can criticize us, we can criticize you. And I tweeted right after. I have no issue with that. Fair's fair. Like, if we have the ability to give our opinions on your play, you should have the ability to give your opinion on what we do. But if you skip media, you don't get a pass. It's not like we're not going to talk about you. In fact, you could explain, hey, not that there was an excuse on the interception, but he could have given us some thought. I thought I was going to get clobbered. I wasn't ready. We got to change the whole background now. Trust me, leave it at 3. It's going to look better than that. Or we could switch to, it's just going to look better like that. So when we get Ant back, we'll have Ant back. But all in all, Earl, Amari Cooper skipping media just 3 days after calling out the media is a terrible, terrible, terrible look in my opinion. And it's one that he could have avoided himself. He's got no one to blame but himself for his play on the field and then his decision not to show up.
I mean, look, the first thing I thought about was bet you they're gonna have some better questions for Amari this week. And like, he couldn't take the heat. Clearly, like, you're supposed to be a leader on this team. You're a dude that people look at as the constant pro. Up until this point, a lot of fans was pointed at Amari Cooper as one of the players that they looked at as a pro, somebody that represented what the Cleveland Browns organization was turning into. And that type of behavior, like I said, from a guy like that, that's a veteran, it's sent the wrong message to everybody else, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he said you guys sometimes don't ask the best questions. Do you know what all would have been fair questions in this post-game interview, Earl? I'm gonna ask the question. You tell me fair or not for this particular instance. Amari, how'd you drop a ball that hit you right in the chest? Fair or not?
That's a fair question.
Amari, you lead the league in drops. What's happening? What's wrong? Fair or not?
Fair question.
Amari, do you want to be in Cleveland because your body language is just not? Fair or not?
That's a fair question.
Well, those are all fair questions, Amari, and you could have put an end to a lot of this noise had you simply showed up. And guess what? The Browns didn't tell you not to show up. Deshaun didn't tell you not to show up. That was your own personal decision. And if you want to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. And if you want to dish it, you got to be able to take it. And Amari opened the door even more than it typically is by his comments last week. And I was just disappointed because he's a veteran, Earl. It's not a rookie. It's not like this is his first rodeo. He knows what the relationship between media and players are. He understands how the business works. And frankly, he's off to the worst start to a season in his career. He leads the NFL in drops, and he just wasn't willing to face the music.
Dude's just not playing good right now. So I'm looking up, according to FoxSports.com, he got 6 recorded drops on the season, which does lead the NFL. Like, I think it's a problem when a dude like Amari don't take accountability. Like, a guy like you is supposed to set the example, right? Attitude is a reflection of leadership. It's cliche, but it's one of the oldest sayings that we have heard for a very long while now. And when Amari feels like he can say make those type of comments, go out there and play the way that he did, and then skip out, on post-game media scrubs, like, does Jamari Thrash develop the attitude that he can do that too? Does Cedric Tillman develop the attitude that, hey, if he can do it, I can do that too? We all talk about Jerry Jeudy being here under Amari Cooper's mentorship, right? Lord forbid Jerry Jeudy act like that. You think our fan base ain't gonna get on his ass? I'm pretty sure that they would. So it's like for you to be the veteran on this team and a veteran in that position group that's struggling, by the way, like you can't lead by that type of an example. And honestly, if that's what you're gonna put like on display, then somebody with some higher authority than you need to pull your coattail and either sit you down or get you off this team. And Mike, to a further point, man, that's one of the things that kind of like frustrate me with the squad right now, right? Like Kevin Stefanski can't go out there and complete passes. Like he can't catch the football. He can't make the offensive line block. He can't himself stop the penalties from going on. But you know what he can do? He can sit players down who's not performing. Yep. Right? Like you still have some type of control as a head coach. And when you keep marching these dudes out here who's underperforming, and I get it, the talent on the bench might not be at the same quality, but you got to send some type of message because you can't allow this type of behavior to continue to go on. And I know, like, as we go through the season, you know, the fan base will be like, okay, well, it's only 1 game, 2 game, 3 game. We through the first quarter of the season. And if you don't start like correcting these bad habits right now, like you're going to end up in October, November, December, and this is just going to be who the Cleveland Browns are for 2024.
Yeah, they're not dead. Like, let's make it very clear. At 1-3, the Browns season is not over. But with each loss and each poor performance, it becomes harder and harder and harder to dig yourself out of the hole. I mean, just look in the AFC North, for example, right? Mm-hmm. The Steelers are 3-1. They just lost to the Colts. I don't think they're world beaters. Their defense is good. I still don't believe in the offense. The Ravens have won 2 in a row now. They destroyed the Bills on Sunday Night Football. They look like the best team in the division to me. And the Bengals, their defense a train wreck, but their offense has put up numbers just about every week outside of the opening game loss to the Patriots. You have more faith in that. The Browns aren't dead at 1-3, but they're the only team in football that hasn't scored 20 points in a game. Like, and they should have scored 20. I disagreed with the holding call. I mean, I think it was the right call. I just thought it was soft. He called that every play. But you need to start stacking some positives on top of each other, Earl, to make people buy back into the fact that this Browns team could compete with the best in the league, because nothing we've seen so far indicates they're at that level. And then when you have veteran leaders like Amari doing something like skipping out on post-game media after making a crucial mistake in a game, it just compounds the issues and the worries. And just to make this clear before we move to the Guardians, we spent a lot of time talking about when Deshaun Watson was and wasn't going to speak to the media. Like, This is always a thing. This is not an isolated incident on Amari Cooper. Can you imagine if Deshaun decided to skip out on a post-game media session, Earl? The outrage from everybody, especially if it was after a bad game. Part of your job and part of the reason you get paid millions of dollars to play professional sports is media is an obligation. You have a choice.
I seen it in real time, bro.
But it's part of.
Listen, I seen it in real time. So Baker's last year here.
I think we got Ant back too. I'll bring Ant in.
Baker's last year, you know, at this point, I am pretty much just screening calls for the post-game show. I am cleaning up audio and I'm getting everything ready to go. And we had played the Detroit Lions here at home. I think we won that game, but Baker played like crap. It was one of those games that the Browns won really, really ugly that they should have lost. And I get word like right away, you know, Baker don't plan on speaking to the media. And when that happened, the lack of accountability, I think at that very moment is when a majority of the fan base was like, you know what, to hell with Baker Mayfield. Because if you're going to play like that and then you can't stand up there and take accountability for your actions and you the quarterback of this team and you don't want to speak to the media because you can't take the pressure, then like this is Cleveland. We don't want you. And so to your point, like Deshaun Watson would get absolutely destroyed from every single angle if he was to do that. And the messed up part about it, to take it even further, is if you're Amari Cooper, you know your quarterback has taken so much heat on social media, in the media, etc. Like, do your boy a favor. At least stand up there and take accountability for that ball that ended up being intercepted. That's going to end up on his stat line, not yours. Like, that's bad all the way around the board.
All right, guys, let's pivot. We have Anthony back to the Guardians. The Tigers, I believe, lead 3-0. I checked a second ago, I turned the TV up, but I think they're up 3-0 on the Astros. Guardians play later this week, the winner of the Tigers-Astros series. Ant, you got your Guardian shirt on. Are you buying into the fact that this Cleveland Guardians team can win the World Series when it's all said and done?
I already told you guys this morning in the office, and I put it out there on Twitter. I put it all on the table. Class A is going to strike out Ohtani in the end. It's going to be the final out, and we're going to be the winners. I would like to play Detroit over Houston right now. I know they are on fire, but I don't know. Houston scares me. They've been in the playoffs so much that the experience that they bring to the table over our younger guys, I'd rather go up against the Tigers. And I'm really hoping that the Orioles beat New York, because if we have to watch them lose to New York again, I don't know if I can handle that. But that is my take on the baseball playoffs.
Earl, you all in on this Guardians team?
I'm all in on this Guardians team, man. Hashtag for the land. I think I'm gonna be very, very honest. Like, I came so far from my expectations doing when they broke, for spring training down out there in Goodyear to now, and it's like, this is a baseball team that, in my opinion, Stephen Vogt got the best out of. He made them believe. And when you're playing with this level of confidence and you finish the season strong, now again, that last home game was a little shaky, but homestand, was a little shaky. But overall, this team finished the season strong. When you got Jose Ramirez, man, when you got a healthy Stephen Kwan coming back, Naylor is contributing. You starting to get contributions from guys like Kyle Manzardo. We know what Big Christmas can possibly do. Just like Roki, or if you go down the line, there's so many different moving pieces and parts. And I'm a person that believe that once you get to these particular points and you don't have experience, sometimes that stuff can work in your favor. Sometimes what you don't know and what you don't expect can be a benefit to you. And when you have a rookie manager who's an experienced veteran, former baseball player, who has done nothing but encourage you and speak the words World Series all season long, like managing your squad, I think anything can happen. And I really believe that this Guardians team can beat and play with anybody. The reason why I feel like that is for the better part of this season, when the Guardians played a team that was worth a damn, a team that most of us felt like that we would have to see come playoff time, they showed up and they showed out. It was always the opponents that we didn't expect them to lose to that they kind of crapped the bed against. So, yeah, I'm all in on this Guardians team, man. They owe me a World Series, and I know a lot of people feel the same way.
It's crazy, and it's too early to, put this in permanent marker for this comparison, but the Guardians are the anti-Browns right now. Came into the season with low expectations, a new manager, didn't know what to expect, and Stephen Vogt got everything possible out of this roster. It was one of the more fun regular seasons in recent memory, and they overachieved, and at least through 4 games. And once again, it can change, but through 4 games, the Browns entered this season with the highest of high expectations, the reigning coach of the year. Hey, this is going to be an awesome, explosive offense, and it's been a giant so far. Like, it's the complete opposite in terms of 2 separate teams. As for the Guardians and their playoff hopes, I said it 2 months ago. I said it last month. I'll say it today. I'll say it before they play their first game. The Guardians bullpen is the single best unit of any individual unit in baseball. And if you're going up in a playoff series, best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, best of 9, best of 11, best of 999, if you have the most dominant unit on the field, I'll take my chances in that. And unlike a lineup or unlike a starting rotation, there are so many variables in that bullpen that are weapons. You can kind of pick and choose how to utilize them in the best position on each individual night or each individual matchup, game, inning, whatever. Stephen Vogt has all the pieces to put this together and win a championship. He can't predict or he can't guarantee Stephen Kwan will be May or April Stephen Kwan. He might get August Stephen Kwan. That's the beauty of the playoffs. It's such an unreliable crapshoot of who's willing to show up, not willing, that's not the right word, of who shows up when the lights are the brightest and who crumbles under that extra pressure. The Guardians, outside of Jose, we really have no idea whatsoever who's capable of playing under those bright lights. And I'm excited to find out. But I do know, regardless of whether it's Detroit or whether it's Houston, I'd much rather play Houston than Detroit. That pitching staff of Detroit, the way they're playing, momentum's real in baseball. We saw it last year with both Diamondbacks and the Rangers, 2 teams that weren't great in the regular season, got hot at the right time. I just don't want to play the hot team. The Guards go to their bullpen almost every game throughout a series, especially with the days off in the first round, and get 6-7 innings out of guys who I think are pretty damn locked down and shut out. So I like the chances for the Guardians based off the strength of their bullpen. And they're going to need some contributions from the lineup from guys who aren't the Jose's, the Quans, the Nailers. But they've kind of gotten it at different parts of the season from different guys. And I just got to hope that they come together when it matters most. But Cleveland baseball is a lot of fun. And it makes our jobs a lot of fun. And it makes the city a lot of fun. And I can't wait for this thing to get going.
It seems like, man, when the baseball playoffs start, it's pretty much about, who can hit the long ball and who has the best bullpen. And I think the Cleveland Guardians, for the first time in a long time, can go into a playoffs, with the confidence of we can hit home runs just with anybody else. I mean, if you look at it right now, when Jose finished with 39, so you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cats finish this season with at least 13 home runs. And that's major for this team. You get 2 dudes with over 30. I mean, Big Christmas came in. He hit 13 in 67 games. So, we have that power now. We have that ability. And guys like Lane Thomas and Kyle Manzardo, who got hot towards the end of the season, I think that those guys will be X factors, right? You talk about needing guys outside of the Nailers and the Quans and the Jose's to step up. Well, I'm looking at guys like Noel. I'm looking at guys like Lane Thomas, and I'm looking at guys like David Fry, et cetera, to really just step up and be able to take the ball deep and help put some runs on the board. Because as you said, this bullpen, they pretty much is the best single unit of any unit in all of baseball, and I trust them up against anybody's best hitter.
And
my X factor going into this is right now Brian Rocchio. We were talking about it this morning. His defense at shortstop definitely scares me. And I know he's not necessarily an elite plate hitter, but he was showing signs of life and showing that he could get hot there towards the end of the season. I think if he can keep that going, along with all the contributors that Earl just mentioned, we have kind of a scary lineup going into it. I don't know, other than maybe 8 and 9, where you look at to get easy outs if everybody's on.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't love the lineup.
But
they got a lot of Quan hasn't been good as of late. He's been better. David Fry is who knows? They have a lot of who knows, but I guess the one positive of the who knows argument is they could be good. They haven't proven themselves to be bad and incapable playoff performers yet. You look at the Yankees lineup, that's a playoff tested team, but a lot of those guys that have been in the playoffs quite a bit have kind of sucked in the playoffs. Aaron Judge has not been a good playoff performer. And I'm not saying I wouldn't take Aaron Judge, don't take it, but they have a track record of guys you go, they've kind of proven in the playoffs they don't play their best. And sometimes the pressure can get to a guy in a situation like a postseason series, a game 7, where every at bat is scrutinized to the T. And for the Guardians, they have a bunch of who knows guys, which could be good, could be bad, and that's the beauty of baseball. It's really about getting hot at the right time, and I keep going back to that as to why I don't want to play Detroit. They're up right now on Houston. It is 3-0 after 4. Skubal is throwing the ball pretty well, and his stat line through 4 innings, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. They got 3 runs off Valdez already. They're just playing good baseball, man. I don't want to see the hottest team in baseball coming in a 5-game series where we could potentially face Skubal twice.
That's fair. I worry about the experience, but yeah, getting hot, you're right. It's probably more concerning. I haven't watched. Oh, okay. I thought you guys froze again. My internet is going crazy. Sorry, everybody. But I got the game up right now. He's disgusting. So I understand that fear.
Austin Hedges got an RBI off him though, Ant. Don't worry. Your boy.
That's what we like to see. Although I don't have just a Hedges jersey anymore. My friends were nice enough to get me a jersey that says Cantaspelli on the back of it. So shout out to whoever ended up giving me that nickname.
You got the City Connect too, don't you?
It's fake, don't worry. But it has our show logo on it.
Sweet. Oh, final thoughts on the Guards before we wrap up here for a impromptu behind the glass.
Listen, man, the Guardians was the first team on a local sports tip to really break my heart. Because of when I was born, I really don't remember, the 90s, so to speak, with the Cleveland Browns being here. I didn't have a football team to cheer for. The Cavs, Terrell Brandon and Wesley Person and Bobby Fields and Chris Mills was was your mainstays, and they really wasn't all that good, man. But at the time, man, you knew that Jacobs Field sold out every single home game. You knew that this team had a lineup that could hit, and you knew that they had enough pitching to get the job done. And to be able to see this team go play in a World Series 3 times, and I can remember 2 times in particular, like, 97 as a kid being allowed to stay up late for Game 7 and to really, really think like, okay, damn, I'm about to see my team as a kid win the World Series and it be let down like that. Like, and then you get that opportunity again where, you got this series lead and you thinking, okay, the next game. And then you get to Game 7 and again, you get your heart broken. Like, I feel like this team really, really owed me and a lot of this city a World Series title. And you got a rare opportunity in a very unique season to go get that accomplished this year. So I'm behind this team 100,000%. Good luck to y'all on y'all playoff run and just bring home the World Series. That's all we asking for.
And final thoughts.
Don't let the Browns get you down with the Guardians doing what they're doing. And you're right. I would say that they owe us a World Series because I had to sit and watch them blow a 3-1 lead surrounded by Cubs fans in 2016. I'm ready to see them win it all, and I'm ready to see them do it in an amazing fashion when they had no chance at the beginning of the year that we thought they were going to go this far. So I'm in. I'm excited. Let's go Guardians.
My last thought, this is a Browns town. It always will be. But for the Guardians playoff run, make it a Guardians and a Browns team, a Browns city. Like, we can support 2 professional sports teams at the maximum capacity that fandom should allow you to. I understand fully that football is king. Football will always be king, and baseball has subsided in terms of popularity nationwide. But Guardians are one of 14 teams in the playoffs as of today. They're one of 4 top 2 seeds with a bye in the first round of the playoffs. They have earned your support throughout their performance in the regular season, and the city in return has rewarded them with their first 2 million attendance season since 2008. I hope that doesn't stop. I hope it gets even crazier. I hope the intensity picks up, and we'll do our best to cover them. We understand how our show works. It will never be a 50-50 split, but we will do our best to give the Guardians the proper coverage they deserve. And I hope you guys, from a fan perspective, give them and cheer for them with the same ferocity and intensity you guys do with the Guardians. That's going to wrap it up for Behind the Glass episode. Earl the Pearl, Anthony Antonelli, Mikey McNuggets. We'll see y'all tomorrow on UCSS. Peace.